All right, Bible readers, it is time for another quick Bible study, and today it's from our reading in Isaiah 30 through 36. So these opening verses from today's reading can teach us so much about how we should seek and trust the Lord above all else. So let's read a few verses. Isaiah 30 verse 1 says, "Woe to the rebellious children, saith the Lord, that take counsel, but not of me." Okay, so let me say that again, that take counsel, but not of me. So there's so many sources in the world, especially in this information age that we live in, that we can seek information. But if we're not seeking it from the Lord first, first of all, we can be missing out big time. And there's just a problem with not going to the Lord first. It's that simple. And it goes on. And that cover with a covering, but not of my spirit, that they may add sin to sin. Okay, so the Bible says something. It's one of the most profound verses in my opinion, because it says whatever is not of faith is sin. That's a super high standard. So verses like that make me incredibly thankful that Jesus Christ died and paid for all my sins to reconcile me back to God, because I can't possibly meet the standard of always being in faith. Okay, something to strive for. I'm not saying don't try. Absolutely try, but we're going to fail. So the next verse, Isaiah 30 verse 2 says, that walk to go down into Egypt and have not asked at my mouth. Okay, Egypt, if you read, it really doesn't take more than maybe reading the Old Testament once to understand that Egypt is representative of everything that's bad in the world. So whenever you hear Egypt being referenced kind of outside of like actual stories and things that happened while the Jews were in Egypt and like that, it's really the Bible's way of telling us that it's something to do with the world. All right, so I'll just start from the beginning. That walk to go down into Egypt and have not asked at my mouth, to strengthen themselves in the strength of Pharaoh and to trust in the shadow of Egypt. So the Bible actually kind of compares Egypt to the shadow, like it's just something as powerful as Egypt was at a certain time in the history of man. The Bible says, it's a shadow. Like shadow just comes and goes. So God's really putting Egypt, therefore the world, in its place, as we should really as Christians. This world is not my home. And like the famous song, I am just passing through. As a child of God, I already dwell in heavenly places, is what the Bible says. So this world is not my home, and it's really just a shadow of things to come. So verse 3 of chapter 3 says, therefore shall the strength of Pharaoh be your shame, and the trust in the shadow of Egypt your confusion. So this idea of shame and confusion, when we go to the world first to seek counsel and wisdom and understanding, that's what we're left with. So if you take nothing else away from this video and today's reading, go to the Lord first. I'll give you a quick example. In the year 2000, I discovered I had cancer, and my first thought was not to go to oncologists. I just didn't want to do that. And I just knew that God had the solution. And sure enough, he did. And today I am kind of well known for saying that cancer is easy to beat, because it is. He gave us everything we need. Okay. Today is not a cancer talk, but if you want to talk about that, feel free to reach out to me. But cancer is absolutely very easy to beat. All right. Throughout the Bible, Egypt is a symbol or representation of the world, as I've already discussed here. So, it's exactly why God enlisted Moses to get his people out of Egypt. It was like a sign to the Jews that this was not their place. All right. So as Christians, we are called to be separate from the world, as noted by the Apostle Paul in 2 Corinthians 6:14 through 18. So yeah, I'm going to read 4 verses. So hang with me. Paul says, be ye not unequally yoked together with unbelievers. For what fellowship hath righteousness with unrighteousness? And what communion hath light with darkness? And what concord hath Christ with Belial? Okay, Belial, if you've never heard that word before, It's basically kind of I don't know, probably a Hebrew word for those that serve other gods. So just when you hear Belial, it just means those that serve other gods. Or what part hath he that believeth with an infidel? Okay, the word infidel is just somebody that it's like a way, it's kind of like saying barbarian or somebody that doesn't believe or think the way that you do. It's not necessarily a, it's not meant to be this like strong derogatory word, like a racist term or something like that. It's not meant to be inflammatory. It's just simply saying you don't think or believe what I do or the way that I do. Okay. 2 Corinthians 16:6 or 6:16 says, and what agreement hath the temple of God with idols? Well, yeah, nothing. There's no agreement between the temple of God and idols. For ye are the temple of the living God. Okay, that's where I want to slow down just a moment. In the dispensation of the grace of God, for which the Apostle Paul was the minister, he's the one that revealed this mystery that we are the temple of the living God. Without Paul, we'd never know this. So as God has said, I dwell in them and walk in them, and I will be their God, and they shall be my people. Verse 17, wherefore come out from among them and be ye separate, saith the Lord, and touch not the unclean thing, and I will receive you. Verse 18, and will be a father unto you, and ye shall be my sons and daughters, saith the Lord Almighty. Okay, so I want to go back to verse 17. 2 Corinthians 6:17 says, wherefore come out from among them and be ye separate. Okay, so just like God used Moses to pull the Jews out of Egypt and to create that separation, the Apostle Paul is revealing to us that because we are now the temple of the living God, we should be separate from the world. If people can't tell you apart from everybody else, you better check on your relationship with the Lord. Okay. The next chapter in Isaiah further supports this theme. In Isaiah 31:1, it says, woe to them that go down to Egypt for help. So when I read this, again, not trying to correct the Bible or, but Isaiah wasn't written to me. It was written for my learning. So when I read this, I kind of, in my mind, I'm like, woe to them that go to the world for help. Hey, the Bible clearly says, go to the Lord. Go to the Lord and stay on horses and trust in chariots because they are many, and in horsemen because they are very strong. But they look not unto the Holy One of Israel, neither seek the Lord. Hey, have you sought the Lord lately? I hope you have. Through prayer, through Bible reading, through just talking to God. Okay. So here is something to consider. Isaiah 34:16 says, seek ye out of the book of the Lord and read. Seek ye out of the book of the Lord and read. The Lord has always provided his people the book in a language they could read. The Bible never says, seek ye out the book of the Lord, learn Hebrew and Greek and Aramaic and read. No, it doesn't say that. It never says that. It just says read. So I think we should read. That's what I got for you today. I hope that you got something out of it. If you did, share this. If you don't like something I said, hey, let's talk about it. Give me a thumbs up and subscribe. All right, I'm out. Have a great Bible read.